We recently got our grandfather clock hooked back up again. It's a clock that we've had since 1984. It's been keeping time in all the houses we've lived in. You know how time does that? The grandfather clock of time. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Here goes the cosmic clock. It's later than you think, and there's plenty of time. It's a little bit of both. You know? It's the tick-tocking of the cosmic clock. And we got this clock back in '84. It was a gift from my dad and Adriana. And we had it in our house in Sequim for a bunch of years. And then when we left Sequim, it took a journey with us to San Luis Obispo, to California, and we hooked it up and we set it up there. It was there for the chunk of time we were in San Luis Obispo. And then it ended up in Bakersfield, of all places, at my daughter's studio apartment. It was stored there for a while. And then her friend, a friend of hers, took it from there to another place because they moved out of the studio. And then grandfather clock time took a journey then to California. No, Sacramento first. First Sacramento. I forgot this part of the journey. And then from Sacramento, it went to Truckee, of all places, up in the mountains. This delicate clock that you're never supposed to move or touch or whatever. And it's always stayed strong, you know, always stayed strong. And so we had it there for a bunch of time. And then it went from Truckee, California. Eventually, we were in Hawaii for a while. It came and joined us back in Seattle again. And so it was there, tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock with us in Seattle. And then it was time to leave Seattle, and we took it to 2 storage units. One storage unit, then to another one, trying to stow away time, you know. And we took it with us then, and it came out just recently to our journey here to North Carolina, where it's learning how to say, not you all, but y'all. And it's tick-tock, and it's still working. You notice that about time, it's still working. So I was actually going to bring the clock in as my picture for my time on this cosmic timepiece called time, this awakening timepiece, for this evolutionary clock that we're involved with. But there was no way I could get it, so I just brought the doorway in and this little clock from our home to bring with you. So now, what time is it right now? Can you see it?
12.
No, what time is it?
12 noon.
It's 12 noon. It's high noon at the I'm okay, you're okay corral. Yeah? It's that place of oneness that we experience before there were any conditions. Unconditional suchness and isness. One presence and one power. In the Chinese, they call it the Tao, the way. In Jesus' tradition, they call it the way, the truth, and the light. In the Bible, with Moses in the Garden of Eden and all the early stories, it's the story of Adam and Eve in the garden. Everything is there. There's perfect oneness and total harmony. Absolutely nothing separate. Do you feel that? And then something happens. Just a little tick-tock of the cosmic clock. And it's what time now? It's 12:01 on the cosmic clock. And now there is something separate. Now there is subject and object. There is the thinker and the thoughts that are separate from the thinker. There is the mad idea of separation, the infinitesimal ripple, the faintest sunbeam deciding it's the sun, deciding it's the ocean. And we went out in and onto a journey to find something that isn't missing. And my friends, from 12:01 to 6 o'clock, all heaven and hell are broken loose on earth. And see, God's Spirit, essence, the Father, Mother, always says yes to you. Here's a portion of whatever you'd like. Here's a chunk of time. Go play in the world of form, but forget me not. Forget me not. Remember who you are. And of course we don't. So we're out here playing in this world of separation. Everybody who's here is doing this. We're out there in the world trying to create what? The feeling that we had when we weren't. We're always trying to recreate the feeling of oneness and peace that we had when we weren't separate from each other. But it is just a thought. But what happens here is the thought gets so convoluted by the many ways in which it appears in the world, we forget that it's still all one. And no matter what it looks like, it's always still, and we're always part of that one presence and one power. So you watch it, you watch the mad idea of separation grow in the world of appearances. And we all do this all the time. We start off with it looking like the weather is separate from us. So there was this idea that the weather was God, and we are us, and weather's God, something else, of them out there, and God's in a good mood today, so the weather's good, and God's in a bad mood, well, God must be mad at us, we've done something wrong. And then we got the idea of tribes. My tribe, good tribe, my tribe, good people, my tribe, us, other people are them. And then there was that moment in 2001, A Space Odyssey, do you remember it, in the movie, where the being that we are in that body grabs that stick and realizes that now there's a weapon, and now the others of us can be beaten in submission so we can feel together and safe as a separate tribe. Do you remember when you did that? Do you know how we still keep clubbing each over the head, not realizing that we are the one clubbing the one? Let's get on the club wagon, friends, and awaken that we keep doing that. And so now there's my tribe and the other tribes. And then there's my Christianity and your Christianity. And there's Hinduism against Buddhism and Islam and the good guys and the bad guys. It's all part of the same crazy thought. And within the tribe, there's my family, my family, my family. Good family. I can trust my family. My family is a good family. And so now the cosmic clock, tick-tock, tick-tock, here it goes. Now it's my family. I trust my family. I'm not sure about the other people who are part of the other tribe. But then my dad in '84, he left me out of the will. And he gave all the money from the family's wealth to somebody else, so now I can't trust my own family. Do you see what's happening now? The idea of separation is growing. It's about 4:45 right now on the cosmic clock as we play from 12 to 6, the game of separation. And now it's like, you know, I really can't even trust my own family. So now it's just, well, it's just me and the old lady. Me and Maureen. I can trust Maureen. I can trust her. She's good. She's part of my tribe. But you know, she's been acting kind of weird lately. She might be freaking out on me a little bit, and I know I'm freaking out on her, so now I'm not even so sure about her anymore. Do you feel this thing that goes on as we get out here in the stringy world of separateness from the one presence and the one power? It gets to the point, well, if you can't trust her or him anymore, what's that song that John Lennon sings? I don't believe in Beatles, I don't believe in Jesus, I just believe in me, Yoko and me, you know? But there's a moment when all of a sudden even that falls apart, and now there's just me, myself, and I. And I've been kind of crazy lately. How about you? And I'm not so sure about me anymore. And so now I'm alienated even from me. I'm not even sure I can trust me anymore to do the right thing anymore. So here we are. What's happened? It's come out of oneness. It was all 12 o'clock, all oneness. And then it walks out into the world of weather and tribes and families and can't trust anybody over 30 and can't trust anybody under 70, you know, whatever it is that you're going through. You know, it changes as we get older, and then there's a family, and I can't trust her, and now I can't trust me, until we get to some place out here where we realize this is absolutely insane and isn't working anymore. The one thing that rules us when we're playing out the game of separation from 12 to 6 is the thinking mind and the rational mind. The thinking mind and the rational mind rule in the world of separate. It started off as a thought of separate, and then it goes out in the world, again, trying to recreate the feeling that we had when we were one. And we're still one, but we're dreaming ourselves separate and apart from it. So we build this technology to try to make us feel like we can control and manipulate conditions and circumstances so we can feel oneness again. And it appears that no matter what we do, we don't win at that game. And we look at the current form of how we're playing that out in the world, it's played out in the form of technology. Now we have all these little gadgets to make us feel one and connected to each other. If I could just get an iPhone chip in my brain that I could tap and I could feel instant information and connection to everybody, and basically it's a false God. We're making it in our own image and likeness. We're giving it power that it doesn't have. When I was reading those thoughts in my mind and they were coming out, Maureen gave me this great article that I wanted to share with you. It's called Alone Together. An MIT professor's new book urges us to unplug. I think there are ways in which we're constantly communicating and not making enough good connections in a way that's to our detriment, to the detriment of our families and to our business organizations. I, for this book, interviewed lawyers, architects, management consultants, and businessmen. They talk about the volume and velocity of communications. They're never off. The communication is constant. They talk in terms of 500 to 1,000 to 1,500 emails per day. It's more life than they can ever read. And they say things like, I can't even keep up with my life. You know that feeling? When you have that kind of volume and velocity, you start to notice that people ask you questions expecting a quick answer, and you start to ask questions that you can give a quick answer to. The questions get dumbed down, so that the answers will be quick. We're not necessarily putting our investment in ties that bind. We're putting our investment in ties that preoccupy. If you get into this email thing that's going on with Facebook, you know where they have thumbs up and thumbs down settings? A paradoxical thing happens. Even though you're alone in your house, you get this situation where you're continually looking for your next message and have a sense of approval or disapproval depending upon whether thumbs are up or thumbs are down. There you are, you're alone, looking for approval as though you were together with a room full of people. The little red light goes on the BlackBerry, and you see if somebody's validating you. I make a statement in my book. This is a powerful one. If you don't learn how to be alone, you'll always be lonely. That loneliness is failed solitude. We're raising a generation that has grown up with a constant connection and only knows how to be lonely when not connected. This capacity for generative solitude is very important for the creative process. But if you grow up thinking it's your right and due to be tweeted and retweeted, to have thumbs up on a Facebook, we're losing the capacity for autonomy, both intellectually and emotionally. We all know that this is true. When my happiness is geared towards people who aren't even in the room with me liking me, there'll be moments when they will, and there'll be moments when they won't. That sometimes it's thumbs up and sometimes it's thumbs down. When I'm looking for validation from a room full of people who aren't even in the room with me, I cannot be validated by the one who sent me to be present in this moment. Always looking for it outside of myself. And the great deception here is that it keeps telling you just keep trying and you'll finally be good enough. If you just could stay on top of the pile of busyness and rushing around, somehow you'll be able to control and manipulate circumstances and conditions to where you'll always feel like it's thumbs up. And it doesn't work that way. I watch myself. I can have hundreds of people giving me the thumbs up. And one person goes and watch me crash and burn. What is that in us? We haven't learned yet to be validated by the one who sent us. So then when we walk into the world, we have our BlackBerry and my cell phone. But I'm not looking for it to be validated. My validation comes from the beloved presence that I am part of and connected to. That's where I'll reach a sense of 2 thumbs up. You made it. Watching my mind rush and go faster. I don't have a BlackBerry yet. I still have an old Motorola flip phone. It's quick enough for me. But I get caught in the same habitual mind pattern. If I just could go faster and get more done, then I'd finally feel good enough about myself. Anybody relate to this dis-ease that we all suffer from? If I could just get control of my life, if I could just get more people to come, if I could just get the music to be better, if I could just get my wife to love me more, if I could just find my soulmate. Always the mind is looking for validation outside of itself. And no matter what the conditions are, it is never, ever, ever enough. I know this about you because it's absolutely true about me.